Warning. Due to the mature themes presented in portions of the following exhibition, parental discretion regarding younger viewers is advised. Considering the social nature of this page, we may make use of copyrighted material, the use of which has not always been specifically authorized by the copyright owner, blah blah blah. The material on this channel is offered publicly and without profit. All of the foregoing is commentary for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. Any similarity to any persons, living, dead, or oddly obsessed, is entirely coincidental.
Greene County Sheriff Arnott famously said in a news conference,
And I want to start off with saying, things are not always as they appear.
and that still holds true to this day. We couldn't help but notice how many are confused at a certain time of events. We did a little search to see what was causing such confusion. Despite lots of content creators, repeating such false information also aids in the confusion. After reading such comments, we figured we had to make another post on this topic. First, let's look at the facts and evidence that is out there. The shrew said her mother was unalived sometime on the 9th, but did not remember what day it was. She remembered it was the 9th because she was supposed to sneak out of the house and meet Nicholas outside on the above-mentioned date. Nicholas also clarified that on the day that he unalived her mom, he arrived at their home via a yellow taxicab. Nicholas said the taxi picked him up from his hotel room and dropped him off at the Blanchards. Documented evidence shows that on Monday, June 8th at 3:30 p.m., Nicholas took a Greyhound bus from Wisconsin to Springfield. On Tuesday, June 9th at 5:05 a.m., Nick arrived in Missouri. He began walking to the hotel, and at 6:36 a.m., Nick checked in at the Days Inn room 227. Late that evening on Wednesday, the 10th at 1:57 a.m., a yellow cab driver picks up Nick from the Days Inn, and then at 2:08 a.m., it is logged in that Nick arrived at the Blanchard home. This means he arrived 2 hours and 8 minutes into the morning of the 10th. This also matches the evidence of his cell phone text saying,
I'm here.
Now, if you're one of those who believe that her mom had already passed before Nick arrived, then please think about how that could be true, and what that would say about Nick for that belief to even be plausible. Then you must believe that. 1. Nicholas is that ignorant, he couldn't tell the difference between someone alive or not. 2. He was so dense that he didn't notice the wounds or the secretion from them. Which means then that 3. The shrew was strong enough to be able to change the bedding and clothing just to frame and fool Nick. Oh right, because Dan helped before making the brownies. 4. Nick imagined the words exchanged between them during the struggle and incident. And 5. He hallucinated the discharge from the wounds he confessed to inflicting during his interrogation. Let's look at some of the disinformation that has been reported online from reputable sources causing some of this confusion. We color-coded some sections: green to be known fact or Nick's truth, red to be false information according to Nick, and blue to be undecided if true or false. First, let's start with a quick internet search. Wikipedia says the 10th, whereas Google says the 9th. On the Harper's Bazaar website published on April 3rd, 2019, their timeline has some true and some false information. You can pause to read it. Regardless of what she wrote in her ebook, she testified in a court of law that she was able to sneak away and lose her V-card to Nick during Cinderella. Wait, is she admitting then she committed perjury on the stand? Something else falsely reported is when they wrote, after the deed, here quoting People, they caught a bus to his home in Big Bend, Wisconsin on June 14th. Maybe neither publication did any research or just ignored the surveillance footage and bus ticket evidence in his trial that it was actually on June 12th. Ranker's updated timeline, posted on September 29th, 2023, writes that it was April 17th, 2013, when Nicholas is arrested in Waukesha at McDonald's. Well, according to Nick in the original article, it was March 11th. They also have it wrong, saying that it was before Nick met the Beast online. According to Nick and other evidence, it was actually October 17th, 2012 when they met. When they write that the pair were intimate in a bathroom stall during the film is true. But when they write, upon discovering this, the mom was furious. It sounds like they are insinuating she knew what they did by finding them in the bathroom, which is not true.
Nick will speak more on this story later.
Another false statement is when they write that Nick refused to get her pregnant. She was the one who changed the plan to end her mom's life and not go with Plan B. Moving to People's Timeline, published on January 2nd, 2024, it states, the mom is slain on June 9th, again, false. When they wrote that, the shrew put her mom to bed, seems questionable, but that seems to be the match that lit the rumor she did more than what is in evidence. Also questionable is when they said that on December 27, 2023, the shrew told People she regrets her mother's unaliving, and that,
if I would travel back to just the point of that conversation with Nick and tell him, you know what, I'm I'm going to go tell the police everything. I kind of struggle with that.
Kind of, okay? But what is funny is they did discuss that as an option. It was known as Plan E, and she disregarded that idea. But seems she shared it with people recently that she wishes she did now and is struggling with it. Now in News Nation's timeline, they seem to have the most accurate report, which they got right the October 2012 when they started chatting. The Beast says she was in love with Nicholas is questionable. Then they got the incident date wrong, saying it was the 9th. Also questionable is when they say that at the time he checked into the motel, her mom took her to a hospital appointment. Oh, is this the appointment that started the fanciful theory of when she lost the baby by having her tube changed? They got wrong that she handed him duct tape. In reality, she just told him where it was. They got right that she hid in the bathroom while he used the knife 17 times. Again in his trial, she claimed it was her idea to off her mother and that she had 3 plans. According to Nick, there were really 5. Oh, and the shrew reportedly wanted Plan D to be the last resort. Not exactly true. Last on our list is Grunge's entire case timeline posted on January 28, 2024. They write that Nick was the first person that she started to talk with romantically. By now, we all know that might not be the truth. They got right that at one point, the couple had considered getting her pregnant in order to ensure that Nick would have a permanent place in her life, but they didn't scrap that idea. She did. The next whole section is all false. They wrongly reported that once he arrived in Springfield, they immediately began making preparations to unalive her mother, and that they went to a local Walmart and stole a knife for him to use. And this was written and posted in January of this year. Yikes. Then they falsely reported that immediately after the deed, she managed to get a hold of her mom's Facebook account under her mom's name. We know that Nick didn't author any of the Facebook posts. We know when they were posted and in what state. Even The Act got that part right. But clearly this reporter didn't do any fact-checking or simple research before writing this. Anyway, back to the date/time confusion. Fun fact, when it turns midnight, it turns to the next day. Remember, she did say in her text message evidence that it would be late into the AM hours, which AM means that it would be the 10th, not the 9th. Why is that so difficult for everyone? Something that most might not know is what the 5 plans were. Nick's recollection of the plans are: Plan A, send flowers; Plan B, get pregnant; Plan C, run away; Plan D, the one that happened; and Plan E, call the police. According to him, she completed Plan A after the initial meeting at Cinderella. He said that she shared a copy of the receipt. But, according to her, the daisy and rose-filled friendship bouquet she had delivered didn't work, and Mama wasn't impressed. Oh, but wait, so Mama didn't see the receipt? Or wonder how he got their address? Or why he was sending flowers? Wasn't her story that she was called names after returning home, and forbidden to have contact with him after Mama was creeped out by Nick in the theater? Didn't Nick say in his interrogation that—
And was her mom nice to you, or?
Yeah, she was really nice to me. And I don't know what it was, but apparently the night got ruined in some way. I was trying to understand what was going on with her mom, but
Okay.
I don't know exactly what happened.
if history has taught us anything, she probably lied again to manipulate the Buttercup into Plan D. A quick little FYI, did you ever wonder when this well-publicized photo was taken on March 12th? According to Nick, it was taken with her camera at the entrance of their row, on their way out heading to the bathroom. Now, Plan C always had an excuse why it wouldn't work regardless that she was 23 years old. Of course, Plan D had several different variations, but was still Plan D, and the one she wanted no matter what she claimed. Due to her not having a trial, will we ever know how many other men she asked online before Nick said yes? Probably not. That could be a reason why she took the plea deal. So, Plan E made Nick the most nervous due to the whole McDonald's debacle. As we said, people reported she wishes she could go back and choose Plan E.
Sure, Jan.
Now Plan B. Think back to when she said in her interrogation report that she remembered the 9th because she
Was supposed to sneak out of the house and meet Nick.
Well, that part was actually true, because it was the original plan for her to sneak out and get pregnant behind the house that night, just past the trees. But she changed the purpose and switched it to Plan D. Nick was upset because he thought he had more time to talk her out of that idea. If you look at the text messages she sent, she says,
I was supposed to get pregnant in a week and a half.
looking at a calendar, that would be on the evening of the planned June 9th visit. But then she says,
I just feel sad I'm not.
which is odd, because how could she be? More on that later. So that piques Nick's interest and excitement, and he says,
Okay, hon, so what are you saying?
she responds.
Part of me is really worried about my tube. What if I could have it taken out being pregnant?
She then asks,
Could you wait like 10 months for Plan B?
now maybe she meant Plan D and not Plan B, who knows? But Nick remembers that Plan B is to get her pregnant, which is why he responds,
So you want me to get you pregnant again?
as in going back to the original plan, and not, again, as if she ever was. But some creators like to spin this narrative. Noticing she got him confused with her mix-up, she changed the topic and responded.
I'm getting it changed, hun.
So then he responded excitedly.
Oh, because for a second I thought you wanted me to get you pregnant again, dear.
She most likely realized she messed up, and in typical manipulation fashion, she had to quickly change the topic again and not address his responses about Plan B. So 16 minutes later, she finally says,
I just was wondering, does Big Bend have a hospital?
Then to throw him way off, she quickly says,
Besides, I'm late on my period.
which is an odd thing to say, isn't it? She must have forgotten that 30 minutes prior, she said,
I was supposed to get pregnant in a week and a half. I just feel sad I'm not.
So was she trying to imply that she could be pregnant by being late? Granted, weight changes, hormonal irregularities, and menopause are common causes of making one late. But for argument's sake, let's say she was. But then Nick would wonder from whom and when she got pregnant, because we know that it wasn't during the Cinderella visit. So let's go over some quick facts first, about why Nick would be confused by her comment. They saw Cinderella on March 12th, the night before opening at 5 p.m., and 11 weeks later she said she was late. Next, she publicly claimed that he wasn't excited enough to perform, but he knows he was excited enough to take her V-card. They had only one goal to achieve during their 5 minutes of bliss in the men's bathroom. And last, which we are sure many don't know according to their clickbaiting posts, is that he said it was the first time he ever wore protection. Could be wrong here, but with all those added up, a 7th grader in S.Ed class could figure out that she couldn't have gotten pregnant at that time.
At least by Nick.
We also know how she keeps changing her stories. What's that Mark Twain quote? Oh yeah.
If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.
With that being said, looks like some comments and posts with fanciful stories aren't holding up. What is that other quote?
The truth is still the truth, even if no one believes it. A lie is still a lie, even if everyone believes it.
Okay, where were we? Oh yeah, he responded. No to the question about the hospital, she responded. Gotcha. Nick was completely confused at this point about her being late. Or was he? Maybe that is why he responded. That's all for now. Hopefully you can see why you can't always believe what is reported about this case in the press and on social media platforms. As always, thank you for watching. Sincerely, Mr. Smiley and the NPG Cornerstone Nation.